This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
We are now into the second and the beginning of the full day of entertainment and magic galore that will be happening here. And speaking of magic galore, I've got with me a magician who is from the Midwestern area over here, Dan Fleshman. Hey there, Dan.
Hey, Scott. How you doing? Good morning.
He's one of my favorite lecturers, by the way. I just wanted to add that in case you guys ever get a chance to book his lecture, please do. And he's going to be a dealer here at the convention. And how's it been so far?
It's been good. It's been great. People have been coming in. I think, it's like every convention. People kind of pick and choose, and they wait till maybe the last day or so. And then I'm doing a lecture tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And then after you, sir. But so, yeah, I mean, it's been fun. It's been great.
I know that a lot of times people will think, okay, well, what have the dealers got? I need to buy whatever it is straight away because I don't want them to run out of whatever the newest thing is or whatever. Did you find that there was a rush yesterday?
There was at one time, yeah, there was a rush, yeah. And then that was about it.
And this morning, I see that we have donuts over there, which is always a great way to start the morning.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh!
And you, yeah, they got enough. I think it'll last us for a little while over there. And you brought just a few cookies along because I know that is your specialty.
Yeah, I baked some cookies and I brought some with me to the convention. And
yeah, I had one there yesterday because I remember during the COVID lockdown was kind of when you started getting involved in all that, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, I've been baking cookies for a really long time. And then people that knew me from coming to magic conventions were like reaching out to me and said, "Can you send me some cookies?" And so, yeah, I was doing that, not with the intent to do that. But
but you had a side business of baking and sending cookies.
Yeah, not a whole bunch, but I sent out probably, 12 or 15 dozen.
That's quite a few over there. Now, was this your grandma's recipes? Or
No, just mine. They're my own.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And so what's interesting is I was another baker who is well known as Charles Green III, that he likes to bake baguettes.
Baguettes, right.
He's really good at that. So it's kind of cool that you are a cookie baker.
So does Charles, is he still doing the baguettes? Didn't he make a business out of that?
He did, kind of. So
I thought.
I just had dinner with him last week in Vegas at the Magic Collectors. Of all the things we talked about, that was one of the things we didn't discuss. But he's one of the top guys, I guess, apparently, who bakes baguettes. It's amazing.
Is he doing magic still? I mean, I'm sure he still does magic.
He is, and he's just completing a book actually the book is finished on, I want to say not DeSoto, but I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Right.
That was about a guy who owned MGM Studios.
Right.
And who is little known or has been written off out of history, and there's no books written about this guy.
Sure.
It's an amazing story. But anyhow, what have you been working on then recently? You're still doing a lot of restaurants? And,
I'm starting my 17th year this summer at the Chop House in Beaver Creek.
Chop House, okay.
Yep.
17th year.
17th year.
Yeah. Do you ever still keep in contact with Danny Archer since you guys work together?
Yeah, I do. I just talked to Danny last week. We were just touching base about his new, venture with Mark DeSouza out there. And, it's doing well. And I, wish him much success. I've talked to, Peter Samuelson was the opening act. Yeah,
right.
for that week. And he said it's just a great setup. Great theater.
I've talked with Mark. Actually, Mark called me and said, hey, since this is open, you'd be interested in talking about it. I said, yeah, any new theater I think is really kind of interesting. So it'll be on some upcoming episode in the future and talking with him about that.
Great.
So have you been developing some new effects and everything, some new rope tricks and everything, or just...
Yeah, I do have some new routines.
Yeah?
Yep. I'm actually doing a thing here with the WOW gimmick that I've incorporated into a card to wallet routine.
That's great. I love the WOW gimmick. And,
I do too, but I was sharing with them. I've always liked it, but just to bring it out, to do a change with a card never made sense to me.
Yeah.
So I've incorporated it into a routine where it now makes sense to use it for what I'm using it for.
Good point.
Come on by later. I'll show you the routine. It's going to be in my lecture too. So
yeah, I'd like to see that because certainly whenever you're just doing that as the effect, it is a WOW kind of a trick.
Oh, sure. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. But if you do it in cooperation with something other trick, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Sure. Well, good.
Cool then, too. Well, Dan, always good seeing you as well.
Scott, thank you so much. It's great to see you. And when I saw you were going to be here, I was excited. Oh, my gosh, Scott's going to be here, so that's great.
My very first one.
Well, good.
Have you been coming for a long time since you're a Midwestern guy?
Well, actually, but I live in Colorado, so
that's right. Yeah.
Typically, I come to this if I'm able to. If I'm coming like east to see my father in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So he's only about 3 hours from here, 3.5 hours. So yeah, I mean, I'll come to the convention if I can.
Yeah.
For sure, it's a great convention. I love it.
I do too. Oh, well, I've been loving everything so far. I mean, there's so many people I know or people I've met. Like you introduced me to a couple guys. Marty and Cliff. Yeah.
Yeah, they came from Pueblo, Colorado. Actually.
Oh, it is. That's how you know them. From Colorado.
Right. Yeah.
They've been out to see you at the Chop House, I guess.
Well, yeah. Well, Cliff has. Marty hasn't.
Okay.
Marty works at a restaurant in Canyon City, actually. I think it's a pizza place, and he's been there, I think, 27 years now.
Oh, that's interesting.
Friday nights, yeah.
Might have a chance to chat with him a little bit more then, too.
Yeah,
Dan,
sure.
good seeing you as well.
Scott, thank you so much. It's a pleasure, my friend.
So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Dan Fleshman. Scotty out. Well, we've got a lot of great performers and lecturers who have been here this week. One of them we had yesterday afternoon. I was going to say yesterday evening. Actually, it was the Cosmic. Who were they? The Cosmic Romantics were on last night, which is a dual team of mind readers, and were very entertaining. In the afternoon, we'd spoken a little bit yesterday about Eric Tait. And as I recall, I think he's a FISM winner then also. So I've got him with me right now. FISM winner, Mr. Eric Tait. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Good. Thanks for bringing it up so I didn't have to. You got a
little podcast thing you do too.
Yeah. I mean, we're not nominated for FISM the way you are. Craig Petty hadn't put out an episode in a year and he got nominated. What's going on with me? Starting a write-in campaign here. The Penguin Magic podcast is going on. We're actually, we just had like a little bit of a format change because we're on YouTube now. So
it's you and Nick, actually. Nick Lacapo, is that right?
Yeah. So Nick is sort of my co-host, and we do we sort of like cover the tricks of the week. If there's any sort of like drama in the magic world, we'll talk about it a little bit. And then we take listener questions. So Nick and I get questions all the time from people on Instagram like, hey, what about this? What about this? You know, we had someone a few weeks ago ask us like, how do you get over butterflies? Or someone else saying they were real nervous when they do street magic. And our advice was work for a magic company because you get somebody else who can go up and ask someone if they can perform for you. Sometimes our advice is good. Sometimes it's not. But it's... we talk for about 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes we'll tell stories or talk about stuff. Actually, this week coming up, the episode is going to be entirely dedicated to Nick with a new announcement of the new venue in Chicago. Nick is involved in that.
What's that called? The eye and the hand or something?
Yeah, the hand and the eye, but you'll have to listen to the Penguin Magic podcast to find out more about that. Sorry, Scott. Can't give you the scoop on that one.
Well, I got the email from them.
Yeah.
You probably did too, and they gave me kind of an outline, and it's kind of like, hey, you want to talk with us about that? And I just haven't gotten around to chatting with them. Yeah. So you'll get the first on that.
We will have the first on that one, even though we're not nominated for FISM.
Maybe 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Keep at it, young man.
Exactly. No, well, congratulations to you. I mean, like I even said to you earlier off pod, like if there's anyone who deserves it, it's you, because we all, you know, you were the first one, and then the rest of us figured out how to record stuff. No, it's good. No, this has been a good convention so far. It
has been a lot of fun, and this isn't your first convention here, is it? I mean,
my first AbraCORNdabra. I've never been to Iowa before.
Me either.
My first time here. A lot of corn.
I've driven through Iowa, but I've never stopped in Des Moines. It's my first time in Des Moines.
I usually, when I go cross country, I usually take the southern route and drive through Texas so I can get the barbecue. But,
of course you should.
Yes. No, I'm having a great time. I've had some wonderful sessions with some people. Michaela Oz has done a great job at running things around here. The tech people were great. And getting to see, first of all, lecturing on card magic in front of Alan Ackerman is arguably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done in my entire... Oh, yeah. Alan's a legend.
He is a legend, and he does it so smoothly, but you do too. And because you were given an hour and a half, Alan was just given an hour here this morning, which, by the way, as we're recording this, of course, as I mentioned earlier, this is day 2. The first full day of the convention, and the kickoff this morning then was with donuts in the dealer's room, and then Alan gave an hour lecture, but you had like an hour and a half, and because of that, you were able to go into a lot more detail than you typically do at a convention to give some of your philosophy, which I thought was some of the gold of your lecture.
Oh, thanks. I've done that shuffle talk before, where I talk about like different false shuffles and some different theory on how the sort of old adage, there is no best sleight, there's only the best sleight for the situation, is not just bad advice, it's useless because you can't use it, because no one tells you how to actually pick the best sleight. And so I've done some work to like come up with questions for different scenarios to answer that question. what is the best sleight for the situation. And a lot of that just was born out of work at Penguin. Like I'm constantly given tricks to either like work on, or the trick is almost there. It just needs a little cleanup work. And so I'll work with the creator and be like, hey, I thought about this change would be good. And it's because I'm actively trying to answer that question rather than just sound wise. I'm actually trying to do the work.
Well, another thing I thought was wise and good advice is where you were talking about the importance of when you're going to be doing a classic force, that most of us will cut the deck and then hold a finger break or whatever, and about how you should do a pass instead. That was just like, I hadn't really thought about that.
It's I don't know why it's a pet peeve of mine, because in front of lay people, it's a perfectly serviceable to just like cut the deck and then force them. But every time someone says, can I show you a trick? And they cut the deck and then start to, I'm like, this is not like, I know that I don't have a choice and that this has like been preordained or something like that. So I'm just like, I'm no longer fooled, and I like to be fooled. So, I love it when someone does something and I'm like, I have no idea how that works. That's great.
Sure. That's what we live for.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the idea of, in the lecture I talk about this, but the basic idea is that if the reason we cut the deck before we classic force someone is because we want to get a break above a known card. And the most efficient way to do that is to cut the deck and get a break. But we already have a great way to do a cut without anybody knowing, and it's the pass, because the pass is effectively a secret cut. So I do a dribble pass so that I can set a jog above a card without anybody knowing, and then I can set the deck down or just hang out with that, or get the break, and nobody realizes that I've cut the deck. So now your listeners owe me $20.
By the way, I thought it was really cool when you brought up Tom Vorjian. I know that he's been a mentor and a long-term friend of yours from way back in Knoxville days and whatnot. But then also, as he'd said, that just tell me in the future when you invent a trick, you're going to include the Winter Carnival of Magic. And you did.
Yes. Well, it's written down and published, so I can't stop saying that anymore. I would love to name it after another convention so I could get invited back to that convention year over year, but Tom tricked me into writing it down in a printed word.
Yeah. You're committed, and so there it is. That's it.
No, also like Tom deserves all the credit in the world. Tom got me to the IBM. He started pushing me to do more things higher up in the organization. Tom was very instrumental in helping to resurrect the Columbus IBM Ring 7, because he gave me so much advice in how to sort of get people more involved in your local ring. And now I'm barely involved in the management of things, and the club is thriving and growing, and it's great. I mean, the only thing is that the IBM Ring 7 meets the third Tuesday of every month, but they meet in the Penguin Theater. And that's just like my contribution to it, is as long as I'm at Penguin, the IBM Ring in Columbus has got a cool place to meet.
Now, when Dan Harlan was involved, wasn't that kind of his thing too? Didn't he bring people in, or did he have, or not?
No, I mean, Dan did a few things with the club, but Dan moved from Columbus before the club started meeting in Penguin. But, Dan was involved in the Penguin Live lectures, and we were very open with all of the stuff that...
Was there an overlap with you and him there?
Dan and I worked together.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I think I worked there for about 4 years while Dan was there. So I think Dan's been gone for 3-ish or so. But yeah, I mean, like right. I was a camera operator and editor. I was filming Dan. I was producing lectures while Dan was hosting.
And that's back in the times also when Scott was there.
When why are we blanking on his name? Scott Alexander.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there. So that was when you were cameraman, like for the Christmas specials and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Those are so fun.
Oh, they were so much fun. And we're glad to have them back. We had Carissa Hendricks come in and host it with me, and Craig Petty doing the magic. And that was really, really fun. So it was on the heels of filming 80,000 tricks with Craig. So we were all very tired, but it was a really good time.
Did I hear you say then yesterday that you had completed a book of Craig Petty's effects?
Yes, Absolute Madness has been officially published. It dropped at Blackpool. I spent 2 years going through all of Craig's like real workings. I think one of the things that I'll go on the record, Craig is a very close friend of mine. And I think Craig gets a lot of flack in the industry, A, because he wears his heart on his sleeve, something he says, but B, he produces a tremendous amount of material. And one of the reasons he's able to produce a tremendous amount of material is because he really does gig a lot in the UK. He does corporate events, he does walk around. He owns the largest entertainment company in the UK.
Wow.
There's tons of magicians that work for him, and he books his son out and he's booking himself out. I mean, I'm constantly catching him on phone calls between gigs. He really is out there doing this stuff. But I would argue that the core of his material is not the stuff that he's released, because Craig is a really great coin worker. So he's got all kinds of multiple coin effects and with jumbo coins, he's doing stuff with flippers. And those are like his openers and his closers. And then a lot of the stuff you're seeing him release is these days is sort of like either hobby tricks that he's playing with or like middle effects in a longer set. And so I went through all of his core material over the course of 2 years and found the best stuff. And I will die on this hill that some of the coin material in there is arguably some of the strongest coin magic that I've ever seen Craig do, and that I've ever seen come out of the UK.
Wow.
Craig got permission from Marieted, who has David Roth's estate, and sort of curates David Roth's material, to release new handlings of like Into the Void with the felt circle where the coins are going in and out. And the original version involved a lot of lapping. Craig completely rebuilt the routine from the ground up so that you could do it walk around tableside.
Wow.
And it's really effective. I mean, it's
practical and commercial.
It's practical and commercial. And you can tell that this is something that he learned the original one, but he really wanted to do it. But
was that David Roth?
Nope.
Actually?
I think it was David Roth.
Yeah.
I think Portable Hole is David Roth.
Portable Hole, correct.
Because the other one he does is there's a Paul Harris effect, Twilight, the one with the mirror.
Yep, that's Twilight. Yes.
And he's gotten permission from Paul to release his version of it, which again completely changes it, has things happen in the spectator's hand. Outwardly, when you were watching him perform it, you wouldn't realize that it's a completely different handling, except that it like happens in different areas. The Karan's medallion in there is the way Karan's medallion should have always been done. It fooled the daylights out of me. And I sort of...
It may be worth the price of the book. I'm always interested in a good Karan's medallion.
Off pod, I'll tell you how it works, and you'll hit yourself in the head, because you'll be like, how come Craig came up with this and I didn't? Yeah. But I kind of worked on the book secretly for a couple of years, and I got it done. And then we put it out, and the reviews were positive, and so I decided to admit that I wrote it.
And it's available on Penguin.
It is available on Penguin.
Okay.
So it's available on Penguin Magic. The book is called Absolute Madness. And then I think it just went available for wholesale, because I was talking to Dawn in the dealer's room.
Don Bursell. Yeah.
Don Bursell. And Dawn was just noticed that it went on wholesale. So it'll start to show up in local magic shops too.
Someone had contacted me recently saying that Craig Petty was interested in going on a lecture tour of the U.S., and if anybody could help him, give him a call. And I didn't have a contact for him, so I went to his website. It was just one of these generic things saying contact. And I sent this probably 4 months ago, and I've not heard back from him. It probably never read it or whatever.
I'll text him after this.
I was going to say, since you do know him, and I'm the one who books people across the country that I can help if he's seriously wanting to do this. And so, I'll let him know. Yeah. So one last thing, then I'll let you go. As far as this convention, again, this is the first time you've been here and you have lectured and performed or just attended other conventions. How is this in comparison? What is it that you like about this event?
I really like how small it is. I really do love small conventions because I feel like I can get FaceTime with everybody here. There's nothing against any of the really big ones, but I tend to, in the big ones, sort of coalesce to my group of people and and hang out with them. Yeah. But I really like how the intimate feeling of it, how the hotel has lobbies and like a lobby with a lot of tables so people can session late into the night, and that it's connected to a Bennigan's. I'm an unabashed fan of Bennigan's.
I didn't even know that was still around.
I didn't either.
I thought they all went bankrupt.
I thought it was like a joke on South Park. But
kind of like Blockbuster.
Exactly. No, it's great. And Michaela Oz does a great job, sort of keeping things going. Yeah. More power to her. And that's kind of it.
Well, Eric, thanks very much. Always good seeing you. Yeah. And good luck at FISM. Oh, that's right. You're not up for an award this year.
No, but I'm the IBM rep for FISM, and IBM has a very, very strong team that we are sending this year.
Good.
And so I am. I'm just going to knock on wood about bringing home hardware, but I got a lot of high hopes for the kids that we're sending this year.
That's great. Yeah. I hope that the U.S. brings back a lot of trophies here this year.
Oh, yeah.
And so the Magic Word Podcast. That was Eric Tait. Scotty out. I have been going through the dealers, and there are about half a dozen, no more than that, probably about 10 dealers who are in the dealer's room right now. And one who surprised me, who is a friend that we have corresponded. We have talked on the phone a few times, but we have never met personally. And so it's not until we actually see face to face, it's like, oh my gosh, there he is, the author of the Eli Marks series, selling his books over there in the dealer's room. And he is someone who has a regular podcast also along with Jim Cunningham. It's called Behind the Page. Highly recommend this. I tell everyone all the time, you get 2 for 1. You not only get to hear some great conversation with great magicians, but also you get to hear the audio book for free without having to download from Audible or anything, which you can do. And I recommend it also because they're great books. Please welcome, I guess that's a long way to introduce you. One of the friends of the Magic Words, one of my supporters. Also, I would also say that if you go back, there are very few people I have had more than one recording with, and I've had at least 2 with you. Yep. Seems like every time, for a while, when you were coming out with books, but you come out so frequently with books, I decided, okay, well, we'll just kind of catch up. We've heard him. You can hear him elsewhere, and here he is now, John Gaspard. Hey, John.
Scott, it is a delight to finally meet you. I've known you for over a dozen years.
Yeah.
You are thanked in virtually every one of the 9 Eli Marks books, maybe 7 of them. Right up front says, couldn't have done it, couldn't have gotten the magic right without Scott Wells. You've been an enormous influence on this series, as has the podcast. You know, I first met you via podcast when you were on, what was that?
Don Vickers and the Magic Newswire.
Yes, where I think every week or so, a bunch
Sunday
of magicians would get on the phone, it seemed like. The connections were weird. And just love listening to you, and I'm glad that mantle passed on to you because your podcast is a must listen to every week.
Well, thank you. Well, okay, that's all we have to say. I think there's nothing more to see here.
Cash or check, or how do you pay me for that?
So tell me about the newest book that's coming out then right now. You said 9 books already.
9 books. There's number 10 is coming out this summer. Number 10 is different. The 3 most frequent things I hear from people who like the Eli Marks series is, 1, don't you ever kill Uncle Harry. I mean, I've gotten death threats about don't you ever kill Uncle Harry. So we're not going to kill that character. Why hasn't Eli gone on a cruise, and why hasn't Eli gone to the Magic Castle? Well, the fact was I'd never been to the Magic Castle, and I can't write about it. I've been to the Magic Circle a dozen times. And so
you and your wife go out there for Christmas, don't you?
We used to do that every year back when she was teaching. We only had 1 week a year when we knew she wouldn't be teaching something. So we'd go to the Magic Circle for the Christmas show. So for the book, The Linking Rings, I was able to write about the Magic Circle because I've been there a lot. I got an email from a magician named Michael Varma about a year ago who said, I love the series. I wrote a book about 10 years ago about a magician who is at the Magic Castle and is part of a murder. I think it would make an Eli Marks book. What do you think? And he sent it to me. And the mystery was good, and the details about the Magic Castle were terrific, which I didn't have. But it wasn't an Eli Marks book. So I said, if you don't mind me tearing this apart and rebuilding it as an Eli Marks book and putting the Eli Marks characters in, you can be my co-writer. We'll use your story. We'll use my characters, and then you're going to be the expert on the Magic Castle. So the story is called Twisting the Aces. Eli is with his Uncle Harry at the Magic Castle. They're seeing the final performance of an old friend of Harry's. The magician dies on stage, and Eli is accused of the murder. And the book takes place over one long evening at the Magic Castle. It's sort of half Eli Marks mystery, half tour of the Magic Castle. Because if you've never been there before, you'll get a real sense of what goes on there by reading the book. If you have been there before, you'll go, oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So it's a difference. It's still an Eli Marks book, but it's also sort of a travel guide at the same time.
Will it have a little bit different feel then because of that being a co-authored book? Typically, it's always just the John Gaspard presents Eli Marks. You know?
I've gone through and by about halfway through, Michael kind of got the rhythm. And understood the joke. So I went through.
You're sending these back and forth all the time?
One chapter at a time. I did the outline, very detailed outline. He'd do a chapter because I wanted the location to be baked in. So rather than add it afterwards, he would do a chapter. Then I'd rewrite it and send it to him. He'd tweak it, send it back to me, and I'd rewrite it. So by the time it's done, I don't know who wrote what, but it does feel very much like an Eli Marks book. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember also hearing Jim Cunningham, who voices the characters, saying, if I would have known this was going to be going on for so long, I would have had Harry with a different voice because he said it was kind of difficult on his throat.
Yes. People love Harry. And The choice he made, I think it was a very good one. The way he solved that problem is he takes so long between recording books that his voice has plenty of time to heal. Yeah, and the one trick I ever played on him was in the fourth book, The Linking Rings, because he hates having to do accents. And I had, I believe the magician who kicks off that book is Icelandic or something.
Was that Oscar?
Yeah, I think it's Oscar. Yeah. And he dies right away. But Jim didn't know that in doing the reading. He thought, I've got to do an Icelandic accent
For the whole book? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, some of these jokes are just for Jim.
Well, he's great. And as we talked earlier, hopefully that we can get together with him and have him featured sometime later in October, because he is someone who has been a longtime friend of yours, but also a friend of Eugene Berger's. And if you listen to Behind the Page, now you can take a shot. If you're playing the drinking game, Eugene Berger, I mentioned his name.
Eugene.
That's right. So maybe I can talk with him just coming up in October, because I always like to do something that's a little bit different and macabre and having to do with the other side. But anyhow, Jim does these kinds of shows, I guess? Or?
Yeah, he has an annual show that he does. He is the feast master at the Renaissance Festival here in Minnesota every summer. So he has a show that he does every weekend day. And then he comes back to that space in the fall for, I think, 10 or 12 shows. And it's just him and a small audience doing kind of a spook show. There's a little bit of humor, but it's mostly trying to find a connection with the other side. And then he has different ghost hunters who come out and they prowl the grounds after the show to see if they can find any ghosts or any spirits.
And what I think also is interesting how you present the characters around real life places around Minnesota, Minneapolis in particular, because that's where you reside, and so we can kind of relate to that, and you refer to bridges and whatnot. And the magic shop, which is Chicago Magic Shop, I assume, and I think you mentioned before, it was loosely based upon the Eagle Magic Shop, I guess, at Larry Kalo's place.
Right. I knew Larry Kalo. I've known him since I was a teenager, and he still is lively and spry and running around. Yeah, I used to go into Eagle Magic when it was downtown Minneapolis as a kid just to buy gag gifts, stuff like that. He'd print up newspaper headlines, things like that. So I've known him for years and years. So it was sort of based on that, but I placed it on Chicago Avenue in Minneapolis. He was downtown in Portland, and now he's out in Burnsville. But I wanted someplace that was mid-city in a block that I knew really well, because there's other real things around it. So and also it's called Chicago Magic, not only because it's on Chicago, but as sort of a nod to Jay Marshall, because Harry is very much like a cross between Eugene Berger and Jay Marshall. So take another drink, Eugene Berger.
There you go. I thought that was what you were saying, is that he was based, Uncle Harry was based upon that then too. I like the series and the way that you have these characters that build upon their personalities, and from book to book, and very much always something happening. I think like Columbo, where he just Eli always seems to be in the wrong place, the wrong time. It's like, so he's going to be the one who is responsible for this murder. It's like, well, no, he has to prove why he didn't, or
exactly.
Kind of a thing.
And as one reader pointed out to me after having read several books, generally, Eli gets it wrong. He figures out who the killer is, and he's got it nailed down, and then realizes in the last couple chapters, no, that's not who it was. It's this other person who's about to kill him. And it's based on the idea that Eli is neurotic. He is like I've grown up with performers, and I've worked with performers forever, and as have you. There's a certain neuroses of a person who goes on stage in front of people. There's a certain thing going on there. There's self-doubt, there's guilt, there's ego involved. And that's what I wanted Eli to be. He's not a perfect magician. He's never going to be as good as Uncle Harry. He's just the everyman magician who finds himself in these situations. But because he has this knowledge of how tricks are done, how deception is carried out, he's able to see things in a way that the police can't. He can understand when a misdirection is happening that they might not see.
I think it's interesting also that he does not use magic like Harry Potter kind of a thing. This is actually, and you kept true to that character. You wanted it to be pure sleight of hand, psychology, and normal kind of magic, if you will.
Yeah, and that's always been sort of a stumbling block for it, because Harry Potter is so popular, and paranormal things in book writing are very, very popular. Paranormal cozy mysteries are very, very popular.
Easy way to get out of something.
Exactly. And I don't ever like that. I want him to really get trapped and have to put himself in a corner and figure out a way out that you as a reader go, yes, that's exactly real. Because you hate that point where you get to the end of the book and you go, wait a second, what? Mm-hmm. How did he do? Oh, I hate that. And then you throw the book across the room and you don't buy the next book. And I don't ever want that. I want people to be very happy with the mystery.
So to this particular convention at AbraCORNdabra, as a dealer here, this is only about a 4-hour drive from Minneapolis. Yeah. So have you come to this before, or is this your first one?
This is my second year. I chatted with Steve last year about it, and he said, I make no guarantees, but I hear good things about the books. Why don't you come down and try it? And Jim and I drove down, and it went very nicely. It's a different audience than I'm used to. I go to a lot of book events where there are book readers, and I can stand there and I can do my version of Wave, and it ends up with the King of Diamonds, and they're thrilled by that. And I say, I'm worried you picked the King of Diamonds because every victim in this first book is found with the King of Diamonds on their body, and it's a nice little segue into the books. Here I can't do Wave. I'd be laughed out of the building because, there's people who are much, much better at that sort of thing. And then there was initially some confusion. People would come up and say, oh, is that a whole book on how to do the zombie ball? And I say, no, every book is named after a trick, but there are no tricks are revealed, no tricks are explained. Right. But then there'd be the magicians who'd walk up and go, I've heard about this. How many books are there in the series? I'd say there are 9. They'd say, okay, I'll take 9.
Really? They take the whole package?
I said, do you want to read one? No, I've heard good things, and I want the whole set. And that kind of explains the universe of magicians. There are those who are collectors and want the whole thing. Those are those who are willing to sample. And there are those who's like, I don't really like mysteries. And that's fine. It's for mystery lovers.
Wait, if you don't like mysteries, what are you doing in magic?
You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. Yeah.
Okay.
No, when I first published the first one, I had an actual publisher for before I bought the rights back. And she was so excited. She said, oh, this is great. We have a built-in audience. All magicians will buy the book. And I said, I think percentage-wise, it's going to be the percentage of people who like mysteries is going to be the same percentage within magicians. Mm-hmm. If they like mysteries, they'll buy the books. If they don't, there's really no reason to. I mean, they have enough things they can buy that they're not going to ever use anyway. Why bother buy this thing you're never going to read?
We can really go down a real rabbit hole about some of this stuff, but I'm just going to ask one question, then we'll kind of wrap this up. And that has to do, I remember, it seems like Harry Lorraine had told me a long time ago about how that he makes more money selling magic books to magicians than, let's say, when he put out the book for memory, because it's going to a general public. So once that you release that through a publisher, I don't know, Davenport or Penguin Publishing or whatever it is, everybody touches it and they get a piece of the action, and you end up a little bit. So yeah, it's on a bestseller, but then it's just for bestseller for a little while, and then something else replaces that. Whereas in magic, it can continue to go on for years and years, and then it becomes hard to find. You might want to reprint it or whatever, and the margin also is a lot higher per book that it goes direct to the author versus something publicly. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I got into book publishing at just the perfect time because every tool you need to publish a book on your own is now available. There's a whole a list of resources for people who want to make their own book now. It used to be a kind of a vanity thing. You'd go to a company and say, I want to write a book, and you'd pay them $5,000 and they'd publish it. Mm-hmm. Or if you could find a real publisher, it would take a year and a half, and they release it, and you would get, out of a $19.99 book, you might get 99 cents per book. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to make a lot of money that way.
That's right.
Now, as an independent publisher, I can finish a book. I can format it because I have software that does that. That costs me $100 that I never have to pay again. I can upload it to Amazon. I can upload it to Kobo. I can upload it to Apple, to Google. And all the money comes to me. Mm-hmm. So my only real costs are my time to write it, paying to have it professionally edited. I can do the formatting myself. I need to have a professional cover. And the rest is up to me. So, I get people's email addresses, and I have a nice mailing list that I can send things out to. And you can do okay nowadays publishing that way. Certainly better than I did when I was with an actual publisher.
So for those who are thinking about publishing their own books, there's some good advice then too. And also, what where can people go? What's the website where they can get the free books?
Go to EliMarksMysteries.com. That's EliMarksMysteries.com. It's EliMarks.
Or as Jim say, M-A-R-K-S.
Yes, mysteries.com.
Mysteries.
Yeah, you can get free stuff there and see everything that's available. And pretty soon, I know this will probably be out tomorrow, the way you work. I don't know how you do it. I don't know when you sleep, but the new book...
Sleep? What's that?
Yeah. Twisting the Aces will be out this summer sometime.
Sounds great. John, thanks very much.
It was so great to finally meet you in person.
I had to come all the way to Iowa to do this.
Me too.
So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was John Gaspard, the father of Eli Marks. Scotty out.
I just...
One of the performers that we had last evening, I'll say actually he got one because we had a duo last night, actually. It was the Cosmic Romantics, who are a two-person mind-reading routine couple, and they were in L.A., recently moved to Chicago area, and I believe Eric, who I'm talking with right now, actually was from Chicago, so we'll welcome my guest, Eric Thurston. Hi there, Eric.
Oh, thanks for having me, Scott. First-time caller, long-time listener. That's not true. I don't know what that means even, but it just felt like starting that way.
Well, first-time caller and first-time listener, then you were saying then too, so...
That's true.
So just to... keep things clear there too. So you're going to start listening, you said.
That's right. I'm going to start listening after this.
You've been so busy with other kinds of things. So.
Oh yeah. Well, our whole life got a little uprooted, and now we're in Chicago and getting back to basics and working on material.
That's what I was going to say, because as I understand that Elizabeth was actually the youngest board member on the trustees or the direct board directors, or which
she was.
AMA.
Yeah, she was. But we're new city now, and like I say, just kind of starting back from humble beginnings here. And the first thing we did when we got to Chicago is we hopped on all these gig websites, and I feel like we're more professional magicians than we ever were, even in LA, because we're not performing at magic venues. We're performing for real people, in people's houses. We're performing at schools, retirement homes, some corporate stuff. We're absolutely, putting in the hours now and really figuring stuff out.
Well, from what I saw last night, it was a very tight act, and the way you interact with each other, it was very organic, very fun, natured, and although it may seem like it was on the fly and impromptu and improvised, I know that every line, every nuance, every piece of blocking and scripting was just that. It had been scripted.
For the most part, yeah, that's true. I mean, we took this really seriously, and it's always a little nerve-wracking to perform just for other magicians, but it's also a lot of fun. And some of our routines have some nods to magicians in them, like a thing I do with a newspaper about a struggling magician and a couple other things. So I can say after doing the show last night, it was, we had no reason to feel quite so intimidated, but I'm glad we over-prepared. We wanted to do a great job.
And now you were from the Chicago area originally, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm from, the suburbs, have to say that, but...
Yeah. Whereabouts? Which one?
Born in Skokie.
Skokie.
You're from...
I'm from... I went to school at SIU. I'm from... I'm from Salem, Illinois, which is in the... Not New Salem, but Salem, which is in the southern part. But a lot of my fraternity brothers and people I went to school with back in the day were from the Chicago area.
Nice. I was in SIU. So I went to University of Illinois, but I was totally improv and sketch comedy obsessed in college. So I went to every improv tournament in the Midwest, and there was a really great one at SIU that I remember. Lovely, lovely school.
Yeah, U of I was too big for me. I wanted to go to SIU because U of I think at the time, was second only to the University of Texas in size. It was huge, whereas SIU only had like about 25 or 30,000 students, and I felt like I could be a bigger fish in a smaller pond there.
There you go. I wanted to be a small fish in a big pond, just get totally lost and be invisible, and that's what it was like, and I loved it. Yeah, those are good times.
And so you kind of got your roots, I guess, in starting with improv. Is that right?
Yeah, totally. When I was... I saw a show at Second City, a club in Chicago, when I was in 8th grade, and it just totally kind of changed my life. And it was always my dream to perform on a stage there. I left Chicago before that would have even been possible, but I was in something called the Second City Teen Ensemble.
Wow.
Which was something that we had to audition for. I think most people got in, but it was a lot of fun. I learned so much. My teacher there was Jordan Klepper, who has gone on to do just amazing things on TV. And I had so much fun there.
Well, that Second City in Chicago is well known for its alumni who has gone on to a lot of the things on Saturday Night Live and elsewhere.
You walk through the hall there at the Chicago main stage on Wells and North Avenue, and you just see these picture after picture after picture of every comedian you can ever think of from the past. And half of the first season of SNL, they all went through Second City, Toronto, or mostly Chicago, Bill Murray and John Belushi and Chris Farley.
All of them. What about juggling? Now, you did some juggling last night. You've probably been doing that since you were a kid. Did you know David Diebel pretty well also in L.A.?
I don't know David Diebel, but we're following each other now on Instagram, and I think his stuff is brilliant.
He was a member of the
funny.
Long Beach Mystics way back when.
I didn't know that. Okay. Everyone was a member of the Where was I? Oh, I was in the Midwest suffering through cold winters.
Well, so was Kevin James. Kevin actually was from Michigan and saw these guys at Colon at Abbott's one time and said, I got to join these guys, and moved to L.A. to be part of the Mystics. You know that?
I did not know that, but I'm a huge fan of his work, especially his work in his stand-up comedy specials. No, I'm just kidding. The Magician. Grown Ups is what I was thinking. No, Kevin James is, I have such respect for incredible inventors like him and Tom Stone and people. I have invented a couple things here or there, but for the most part, Elizabeth and I are doing just absolute classic effects and making them our own. But Kevin James is incredible. I mean, he invents hit after hit after hit. What can you say? Yeah,
he is truly the inventor. That's true, not just a title for the illusionist. So this obviously is then your first AbraCORNdabra.
It is, yeah. I absolutely loving it. I mean, we just got to town yesterday or the night before yesterday, and everyone here has been so kind and welcoming. The energy here is just truly warm and loving. And we're so honored to be here. We saw some of the past performers of this convention include Lucy Darling and Mario the Maker. I mean, just huge, huge stars, and we're such fans of theirs. And so we're very honored to be here.
Have you been to other conventions? I mean, I get around to a lot, but I don't recall seeing you guys perform.
I've been nowhere. Well, so this is the first convention we've ever performed at lectured at. It sounds crazy.
Did Steve Daly contact you, or how'd you...
I think it was Steve or Michaela. Yeah.
They saw you someplace and said, you got to be here.
Yeah. I think so. Michaela and I became familiar with each other's work over the pandemic because we were both posting videos, and I'm a big fan of hers. And I don't know. Yeah. They reached out to us about a year ago, and we were, it was not on our radar to do a convention, but we said, sure. And now leading up to this, I was like kind of very nervous, and at the time just feeling like I didn't want to be around other magicians and just kind of wanted to do my own thing. But I can really say it's just been a really, really wonderful experience.
Well, I cut you off. You were starting to say about other conventions that you've never attended or started.
Yeah, well, so we Elizabeth and I have gone to several Magic Lives. That's pretty much the only one recently. But when I was a kid, my father was a magician. That part of my backstory is true. And all of our family vacations growing up were to magic conventions in Vegas, sure, but also in, Cincinnati and Little Rock and everywhere. So I had a connection to magic when I was younger, but then I just got out of it for many years because I got so sick of it, when you're around it as a kid, and when your dad is like so obsessed with it,
Maybe
all the love.
My boys don't like it.
Yeah. Well, if you have kids, I'm telling you. But luckily I was telling someone here the other night, I got to kind of reconnect with my dad, Mel Siegel, the last few years of his life.
Mel Siegel was your dad?
That's right. Yeah. Do you know him?
I knew Mel.
Yeah. Great guy. Sweet guy.
I used to talk to him all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Because I book lectures all around the country.
He books lectures.
Mel was the guy that I talked with who was my contact over there in Chicago all the time.
I'll be damned.
No kidding. Wow. I love that man.
Yeah, he was a real sweet guy and a character,
Yeah, he was a character.
But he booked shows at IBM Ring 43, the back of the old Magic Ink shop. He booked lectures there for years and years, and I got to meet Jay Marshall when I was a kid, which was really cool, very special.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, a little trip down memory lane. I was when you asked me to do this podcast 10 minutes ago. It's unbelievable that we're connecting about my dad right now. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that really is. You never know. That's the thing about magic is as far as the connections and when you throw a rock in the water, where the ripples are going to go and how deep the water may be or whatever.
That's a beautiful way to put it. But yes,
So in wrapping up, you said you really liked the convention. It's been a lot of fun, and the fact that it's small. Are you planning on after this? I mean, by comparison, you were talking about Magic Live. I mean, there's 1,600 people, that to go to that. It is huge. And it's kind of hard. I was just talking with someone earlier about what they do is they, in a situation like that where you kind of covey up with just a few people in your social circle, whereas here you don't covey. You kind of stay with the whole group and the few hundred people,
Yeah, it definitely feels like more of a family, and we just got here, but that's definitely the vibe. I mean, I don't know how much Elizabeth and I are going to be going around to the country and connecting with magicians. We kind of want to lay low and do our own thing, but it would be nice to come back.
I'm surprised you haven't been to Abbott's.
Someone's telling me about that. Well, that's apparently in Michigan, I've discovered.
Exactly right.
Well, I've heard about it my whole life.
I was going to say, so many people from Chicago just drive over. It's just a few hours from there.
I would, maybe
there you go.
Maybe the Midwest is just, the home I should have never left because it's, maybe we're getting a warm welcome here,
Well, is Elizabeth enjoying the Midwestern life?
Unbelievably so. So we drove out here just in February. It was a very quick decision to move. It was after the LA fires, and we kind of wanted to get away from LA for a while. Yeah. So we're renting out our place in LA, but it seems like we'll be in Chicago for a while. She's still excited about the weather. It didn't freak her out. I mean, we came out here in February, like I said, and she's still she's excited about the idea of snow and going sledding. One thing I told her, at first she was dressing very appropriately. She was layering up and she was dealing with the cold very well. But I told her in a year or two, she is going to do what every other person from Chicago does, which is not dress appropriately and just be miserable.
And complain about it.
And complain about it all the time. So she'll figure it out. She'll get there.
Eventually. Yeah. Eric, thanks very much. Good chatting with you.
My
glad to make the acquaintance here then as well. So glad you're here.
Me too. Thank you, Scott. Great meeting you.
Great show last night, by the way. I want to compliment you then on that. Not just to your face. I'd been saying it behind your back, and it was really good. And one last thing then also, I guess, is the fact that you guys, since you had not really lectured or anything, that you had some lecture notes in which you actually shared some of the code. You said we've never done this before.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
If people want to get to know more information or maybe about a code act, how can they get in touch with you? What's your website or your email?
Oh, thank you. Our website is thecosmicromantics.com. Our email address is thecosmicromantics@gmail.com. And, we have a full second side act, but all we shared last night and in the lecture notes is just what we do with a deck of cards. But I think it's very intuitive and very graceful, and I'm very proud of even just that part of our code.
Yeah, very fluid. The way that it sounds natural. It's not like pray thee tell once again.
Yeah, a lot of kind of stumbling over words. Yeah. No, we designed for the value in the suit to be one complete thought, and I think it's always best if. Yes, having a full second side act is great. Not everyone is going to do that. That takes years and years and years.
Tell me about it. I've worked on it.
Yeah. It's very intimidating, the process. But I will say, if you want to incorporate something with a code into an act that you can do with a friend or a partner, think backwards from what kind of words would sound natural for you specifically to say, and what is the goal and what kinds of sentences would you use in that context, and, make it your own.
Yeah. Good advice. Eric, thanks again. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the convention.
Will do.
I know I will. So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Eric.
Got some pizza.
There we go. Eric Thurston. This is Scotty out. One of the people who, surprisingly to me, is kind of one of the behind-the-scenes guys here is a fellow Texan, and I didn't know that he was so involved until actually I got here, and has been attending for quite a few years, is Oscar Munoz. Hello, Oscar.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
I'm fantastic, sir. So I didn't know that. So you probably came here one year and never left.
Right. Yeah, Steve hires me
part
every
of the
year.
family.
Sure. Yeah, Steve hires me every year to come out. Sometimes I don't do anything, but he needs somebody right away, or something happened that the act can't go on or something. Mm-hmm. He counts on me to take it over. So he calls me his clown. When something happens at a circus, clowns go in.
I always think of that as a gopher. You go for here and then you go for whatever needs to be done because you fill in, whether you're like right now, you could be working with the contest.
Right.
And then also MC work or whatever.
Yeah, that was sprung on me yesterday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How did the show go today? I missed I was busy talking with someone else about just the junior, the colonels.
Right.
Tell me something about how that show.
Well, you know what? I'm very impressed with the young folks. Here, especially, because I know right now we don't have that many competing in IBM, but these kids have a uplift on performing. I mean, they were young to, I think the 19 years old is when they can't be competing with them. But yeah, they were awesome. Everybody had something good. There was one gentleman stood out for me was this Garcia. God, I think he's maybe 7, 8, 9 years old.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, he had good
stage
poise.
presence?
Big time stage presence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm hoping he'll make it. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you've seen a lot by being the contest chairman for so many years with the IBM then as well. I guess that's been turned over to somebody else?
Yes. We have Lady Sarah and Keith Fields, is doing the competition for IBM this year. Yeah. And they took it on. My wife and I decided to step down. It's time for somebody else to take the lead. Because,
it seems like whoever's been doing it for a long time, because before that, Jerry Schnepp did it for 20 years, and then you've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah, and then we had Jamie O'Hara and his wife who was doing it for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Then Jerry took it over, and then Mr. Greenberg.
Don Greenberg.
Don was doing it for a while, and then it was us. I think we did it for 15 years.
I'm surprised you haven't been doing it for the TAOM.
I volunteered, but we did it 1 year.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, we did 1 year, but then they never called us back. So.
Well, I'm wondering if perhaps it's because they have whoever's hosting the conventions has
their own people.
Their own people from their hosting city.
Makes it a lot easier because they're constant communication in the city. So that's what I figured. So I really enjoyed.
But you're involved this year. Also, you're going to be giving a lecture tomorrow morning.
Yes, I am. Yes, that's right. I'm performing tonight. About a 15-minute act, and then I do my lecture tomorrow morning at 10:30.
Mm-hmm. At 7:30?
10:30.
10:30. I was going to say I'll miss that.
Right. Yeah, me too.
So anyhow, I know you got to get going here shortly, and it's been a good convention. It's been a lot of fun. And,
he has a good lineup.
He does.
We just did. Yeah, wasn't he amazing?
Every trick. It's like, this is my favorite trick, but not only that, it's my new favorite. That was really well explained.
I love the balls in the basket. Yeah. And good concepts,
taking... all different. I mean, they weren't all just card stuff or whatever. Right. I mean, that one thing is Slinky, the deck of cards or something. I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's just good thinking.
The guy has a good mind, a great mind to put using old principles to make something new, which is amazing. Yeah. Like a light bulb.
Right. Yeah, with the egg.
With the egg,
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Yeah, that was a cool idea.
Yeah, no, it was good. And we had pretty good lectures. We had Cosmic Romantics the day before.
Cosmic Romantics last night were great,
right? And they did a good job themselves. And I think Steve, I don't know how he does it with a budget that he has.
I don't either. He obviously calls on his friends. I mean, he's been around for a long time, and so
he's had me for a long time. So
I
met the first time I met Steve was when he was doing the flea market during a Desert seminar, magic seminar.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's the first time I don't
remember him doing the flea market back then. I mean,
yeah, that's how I met him. He introduced me to that comedian. I forget his name. Harry, no, I forget his name, but he was a heavy-set comedian. I almost had his name. But anyway, that's where I first met Steve. Went to see him at... I
remember him Showgirls of Magic.
That's why I went to see him at Showgirls of Magic.
That's when I first met him.
That's when I made him laugh, and he made me, my wife and I laugh like crazy. So I go, oh, this guy, and that's how I met Tiny. Who doesn't know Tiny?
Tiny Bubble.
Tiny Bubbles, yeah. And that's Steve. Everybody knows Steve.
They do.
Yeah. So.
And that's the thing, and they'll do anything for him. And so I'm sure he kind of taps into that, saying, hey, would you come and help me? And we don't have much of a budget. Can you do whatever? And so he brings, obviously, top talent. Oh, yeah. And then people, like you are just saying, hey, can you help me out? And be glad to.
Yeah. I mean,
do anything.
He's asked me to do stuff for him, and I'll do anything for that guy.
One thing real quickly, and I'm going to let you go, and that has to do with the Magic Saloon, which has taken over the Magician's Alliance. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what's the new magic venue? Because, there's so many different places that are opening all around the country. And so this new one in San Antonio, if you get a chance to go to San Antonio, tell me something about it.
That's Scott Pepper's concept. It's called the Magic Saloon. Formerly known as the Magic Agency. And so he asked me to be a part of it. I jumped on the opportunity, and it's great. I mean,
are you like behind a bar like Tom Mulligan was, kind of a thing?
Actually, no. I'm behind the magic set bar.
Okay.
Yeah, I do 15. I do an hour of close up for the people coming in and pitching out.
Strolling?
No, just by the just
by a table.
Yeah, the table.
Okay.
They have the counter. And they have in counter. They have all the magic sets that he offers. And on top of that, I do magic. Yeah,
kind of a demo guy.
No, not so much a demo. I do my own stuff.
Yeah,
but then I do pitch it afterwards. Mm-hmm. Come by, see me at the magic store.
But they've actually got a theater. I mean, I'm trying to say a stage where they're actually doing it.
They have a really nice backstage. Well, really nice stage. It's a more intimate, about 60 seats. And it has a backstage and then a drop stage, which, you can, if you want to get closer to the audience, you can, but you're still on a level where everybody can see you. Great seating, and there's no bad seating in that place. And
it's a great location. Is this the one that's right across from the Alamo, right there?
It's catty-corner to the Alamo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a great tourist location.
Oh gosh, yeah. In fact, the people who own it, I believe, is called the Old Time Trileys company that they brought in to San Antonio. They sell rides on their trolley, and they stop at historical locations and stuff, and they go in front of the Alamo and stop. That's like a stop there.
How many days a week are they open?
We're open every day except Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
At what time? Like just for evenings or noon, lunch?
On Monday we do an evening at 7:00. That's when the new magician comes in. So we have sort of like the castle. We have a rotating magicians. They come in.
Wait, you say you do it every day, every week except Monday?
Right.
But on Mondays when
the new magician kicks in, and
so you do have something on Monday.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking of I have Thursdays off.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. So I'm like, do we have? Yeah, but we have. It depends. How many tickets it filled that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been doing great. I'll tell you.
Do they serve food, alcohol?
They do right now. They do mocktails.
Okay.
Yeah, and popcorn, free popcorn, and cotton candy.
Okay.
So yeah, it's more family based than adult. I mean, sometimes we have full audience adults, and we're a little bit more relaxed. Then got to be worried about what you're going to say.
Sure,
or something.
Of course.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, I'll let you go. Thanks very much.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Scott.
it.
It's good to see you.
You as
it's
well
good
as always, wherever we are.
I know, right?
For the Magic Word Podcast, I was Oscar Munoz.
Later,
Scotty
guys.
out. So one of the things that Oscar just spoke about, you heard, was about the young magicians and how talented they were. And I missed that show, but there was someone here who can give us a little bit more detail on that. I got Jean Robert with me, who is going to tell us a little bit more about what was going on. John, how are you?
Hi. So my name is Jean Robert Lemichem. This is my first time at AbraCORNdabra.
Really?
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm actually from Minneapolis.
Okay, so only a 4-hour drive. It's fairly short.
Fairly short, but it's my first time here. Having a great time. And I really wanted to try and make the Colonel show because I knew a couple of the kids in the show. And I really like watching some of the new upcoming actors and the magicians because I've been there, and it really takes guts to get up there and put yourself out there and just be all nerves gangling up there and afraid that just know that people are going to throw rotten tomatoes at you and, go boo, hiss. But then afterwards, sit down with a piece of pizza and have people who actually have worked give you active, constructive criticism and say, no, you did a good job, but here's how you can improve. or say, hey, you did a good job, and here's what you did great.
Right.
And it is a wonderful resource because it is very easy to have young magicians just kind of crowded out. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity that the organizers have opened up to the young magicians to have that space and that time to perform, to have that space to organize and act, to to think about what a competition would actually look like.
You know, what I'm thinking is about over the years and a long number of years that I've been attending magic conventions and seeing youth performances, and a lot of times they've been taught by their parents.
Right.
And so there's kind of an apprenticeship kind of a thing handed down. However, the way that a lot of youth learn nowadays are not by books necessarily or even DVDs. They're learning through YouTube and TikTok and online and learning from all over the world, and not just myopically or within a certain region or something where they happen to be attending a club meeting or, again, being taught by two or three people. They are learning from the world. So as much as some people may complain about some exposure on YouTube, which is warranted in many cases, but there are cases also in which people, like children, can learn, and they're becoming better magicians and giving us a more well-rounded performance than they would have earlier. That's what I'm saying. From years past, they were rather pedestrian and showing just box tricks or, silk scarves or whatever, and also not having the confidence to speak. Now, that's another thing, is I understand that some of the performers this morning who were young had great stage presence and were able to talk. And I think there again, by being able to talk to their, quote, audience through YouTube or whatever else, maybe now they're starting to do that. It's just, as we're having this conversation, this is for the first time really started to occur to me about how this has been a positive influence.
Well, there's an upside and there's a downside. So yes, I believe that. So YouTube and Instagram has had a positive influence where, yes, there's the exposure, but there's not the, well, how do I want to put it? There's not the feedback.
That's where do you get here?
Right.
Yeah, from other people. Yeah, you're just doing it and casting your bread in the water.
Right.
Kind of thing, yeah.
There's not the feedback where it's just like, okay, yes, you did it, but you're practicing wrong, and so you're only going to be doing it wrong consistently. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what you're doing wrong. And so you need somebody who can go, okay, instead do this.
Yeah, push them in a particular direction with some positive feedback.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if you're getting feedback from the internet is brutal. And it is not positive feedback.
True.
So there's the positive where you get exposure, but there's a lot of downside.
Sure. Yeah, you get bullied or whatever. Right. Yeah, and you can't believe everything that they're...
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say it is so easy to get frustrated where they give up very quickly, where you're not getting that lifting hand that you would get from that internship that you would get from, say, a magic club or an internship. And you don't get that guidance that you would get from, say, an art club or theater or speaking that you get anywhere from YouTube.
And this today was not a competition. It was really more of a presentation. Is that right?
No, it was a competition.
Oh, it was open as a competition? Okay. So there'll be something awarded. Okay.
Right. Because
yesterday we had the adults, and you gave a little kernel, and the same kind of a thing, I guess, a little piece of corn.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it was a competition, so they had to learn, here's what the rules of the competition are.
Time, deadlines,
right.
Yeah.
So they had to learn how to think. What are the rules of the competition, etc. And so, yeah, you have to think toward those ends.
Now, I know you said this is the first time you've attended this convention. My question is, I wonder why other conventions are having difficulty trying to encourage competitors, and they may not even have enough to have a contest. Whereas here, I think we had 12 people yesterday who were adults, and what do we have, 9 or so people who are youngsters today?
I think we had
11
young people.
What is it about this convention? I may be asking the wrong guy here, but
I honestly don't know.
It's interesting that they, with a small convention like this, actually had a healthy number of people in the contest who wanted to compete. Maybe because this is a friendly convention, the people felt like they're doing it for friends, and maybe they're going to get positive. Well, they're going to get honest feedback, but they're not going to be heckled, I guess.
I think that is a very strong part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I just wondered. Well, Schoenberger, thank you very much. I just wanted to get a kind of a general idea. You enjoying the convention, by the way?
I am having a wonderful time.
Yeah. You going to come back again next year?
I certainly hope so.
There we go for the Magic Word Podcast. That was Jean Robert, Scotty.